Is it difficult being the Commanders' play-by-play voice and a local radio host in the city? Like, are you able to give the honest commentary and criticize the team enough when needed, or do you need to temper those emotions a bit?
Well, this is going to be aired, so how am I doing here? Am I being
Doing
am
Yeah,
I
no,
being too tempered?
I'm actually pretty impressed. Yeah, I think you've been honest and reasonable about all the stuff you've been saying.
No, I think like I think as I've kind of always taken the position of like for me, this team, they are kind of like my family, and at times on Sundays my religion. And with your family and your religion, not everything they do is great, and so you got to be open to having open conversations with them about how how we function together. And I think that's healthy. Like to sit there and pretend that everything is great all the time is just not reality about anything. And I don't think, as a radio host or a host, I don't think my audience wants to hear me. We're not stupid, like I've always said, like this is a very educated fan base here. I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm talking with everybody. And if we're not having honest conversations, then I'm not doing my job. Now on Sundays when I call the games for the team, I kind of keep most of my opinion out of it because that's just not my job. Like
Yeah.
I'm there to set up my analysts, London Fletcher, Julie Donaldson, anyone else we may have in the booth. I may frame a question a certain way to try to elicit answers, but I'm there to call a game. I'm a representative of the team, and from 1 to 4, frankly, like to go back to like your previous thoughts about like everyone's blaming Dan Snyder for everything. When they fail to get a 3rd and 2, and have to punt in a one-score game in the fourth quarter, that's not Dan Snyder's fault. So I got to be, I'm just telling the story of a game on that day.
Yeah. Have you ever been told that you said something on the radio that was too critical or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody goes through it, but nothing that really, I think, like, I think most of the time, if those conversations happen, it's typically someone saying, I think you should know this for context so
Okay.
that, that's how it really goes. It's very rarely like, sure, like, I think everybody who covers a team goes through that. And in my position, yes, it's a little more tenuous, and I'm aware of that, like, that I don't want to make anybody angry, but at the same time, I've got an audience to cater to that wants to hear the unvarnished truth, and there are limits because I'm actually the hardest part for me, honestly, is that I see more than most of the other media. Like I'm allowed access to practices that they're not because of my job. And so I have to be very careful. And I would never, ever, ever want to put this team at a competitive disadvantage by saying something that I saw that was not to be revealed for public consumption.
Sure.
So on that side, if I ever do anything like that, I would expect to be fired. And so I'm very careful about that stuff. But telling the story of the team, even if it's controversial, every once in a while I'll say something and somebody will call me and go, I think if you knew this beforehand, you wouldn't have said that. And it's just for context.